All morning long, we've been watching the hearing in Washington, D.C. The Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, testifying on Capitol Hill. Want to bring in Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, who is among a group of House Republicans calling for the resignation of the secretary. She joins us this morning from Washington. Congresswoman, good morning to you.
Good morning. Great to be on with you.
I'm not sure how much you've been able to hear. The secretary has apologized. She has reiterated November 30 as the fix. She has said to hold her accountable. Any of this good enough?
Well, it's not for the people that I represent. It's certainly not for the employees that I have either. I asked all of my staff to go on the website to go through the process of signing up for Obamacare. And the result is that people were able to get a number on their premium, but they could get no details on the plan that they were going to buy. They had no idea what their deductible would be, what their copay would be, what the plan even covered. The other thing they were told is that once they sign up, there's no way to get out. So there's no exit. So they were told to, if they weren't sure, to stop before they actually signed up. I don't see how in the world this is going to be fixed by November 30th, because I agree with the White House. This is more than just a website. If this rollout is this bad on the website, what's it going to mean for getting doctor appointments? What's it going to mean for getting the actual health care that people deserve and need? And I think especially women are what I'm worried about, because women make 80% of all the health care decisions in this country. And I'm telling you, it's women that I talk to every weekend when I go home. One woman last weekend, married 37 years. Her premium's jacking up $2,000 this year, but their deductible is tripling. So this is a huge tax increase for their family. Effectively, that's what it is. So the question is not just what is Kathleen Sebelius going to do, what are the senators like Al Franken and Amy Klobuchar who voted for this bill, what are they going to do? Because the promises they made to my constituents that they would save $2,500 a year on their premium have gone bust. It's just the opposite. And so the people that I represent come to me and say, Michele, our family can't afford it. We can't afford this health insurance.
So your complaints, again, center around the tenets of the law, right? This is not about accessibility to the website. This is not about the messaging that the president said when if you like your plan, you can keep it. Those are sort of ancillary in your view.
Those are actually fundamental, but it's even more than that. I think that we're only at the threshold of one problem after another. Again, the bottom line in all of this for women across America will be that they won't be empowered, they're going to pay a lot more, and they're going to get a lot less. And I think that's a really bad deal. One thing government isn't very good at is admitting it's made a mistake and ending something that isn't working. And that's why we've got to put something out there. And I believe that the first step should be, this needs to be voluntary. Don't coerce people and force them to pay for a product they have no interest in buying from a website that doesn't work at a price they can't afford. Give people options. I really believe women should be able to choose the health plan they want, not be forced to buy a plate of dog food that doesn't work for them. And that's what I'm getting behind. Let's make this effort voluntary. Everybody agrees if there's people who have problems with pre-existing conditions, that fix is about a $5 billion fix a year. I'm a fiscal conservative. I would personally write that check for $5 billion out of the U.S. Treasury to solve the pre-existing problem for Americans across the country. No problem. But for all the people out there that have good working health plans right now, let them keep it. They can't.
Congresswoman, forgive me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just slightly confused because you keep mentioning your own constituents. I was under the impression that Minnesota is one of the states that actually set up its own health care exchange, which I believe is functioning very well, and I believe you have the lowest premiums in the country, on average $192 a month. Is that not true?
Well, Minnesota did set up its own exchange, but I will just give you the example that when I go home every weekend and talk to constituents, this last weekend was one more example. Again, a woman who's been buying the family health insurance for 37 years, her premium just went up $2,000, which is a year, which is pretty typical from what I'm hearing, and their deductible tripled. Another man I talked to, 31 years old, has a baby and a wife. His premium doubled at age 31, and his deductible tripled. So for smart people, they would really choose to not buy health insurance, instead pay the premium, or they'd buy it when there's a problem and just go to walk-in centers. That's the smart thing to do.
I just wonder, as a fiscal conservative, whether you would not be of the view that all of the other people that pay federal tax should have their risk of having to pick up very large medical bills in the future from those that haven't insured themselves sufficiently or didn't take out insurance. Isn't that good for us? Shouldn't we say you have to be personally responsible for 60% of your prescription charges and indeed for other services that at the moment they're not covered for?
But that's exactly what's happening now with the new restrictions and requirements under Obamacare. We're all being forced to pick up everybody else's health care bills. So all the people that were out there, responsible people, doing the right thing, buying health insurance, they're paying the biggest middle-class tax increase in America because their premiums are jacking up, their deductibles are going away, they're paying more for their doctor visit. That is a middle-class tax increase under Obamacare, and I want to know, what's the president going to do about that? What's Al Franken going to do about that? What's Senator Amy Klobuchar going to do about that? They made some pretty big promises. They said that we'd save $2,500 a year.
Yes, yeah, you made that point a few minutes ago. Here's the last question, Congresswoman. If the secretary hypothetically were to resign today, as you and some other Republicans have called for, would that be the end of your criticism? Would you be willing to let this law start to take effect? And if it fails, in your view, then say basically, I told you so?
Well, I'm not interested in political theatrics. I think when you have failures, somebody needs to pay the price, and Sebelius does. But that doesn't solve the problem for women in Minnesota who are seeing huge increases in their health insurance premiums. And that's why I say the senators that made all these big promises, they need to fix it. And so Al Franken, Amy Klobuchar, and the other Democrat senators that gave us this disastrous bill that was foreseeable, they need to fix it, and they need to get on it now, and they need to apologize because all the promises, glowing promises they made are turning into ashes, and they need to work with us and get a bipartisan solution so people in America aren't disadvantaged. We need to help people, not hurt them.
I don't think we've talked this much about Al Franken in the history of our network. It's great to see you, Congresswoman. I hope you'll come back soon.
I will. He was the 60th vote. We wouldn't have Obamacare without Al Franken.
We all remember. We all remember.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. Michele Bachmann joining us.